everybody, and welcome back to our final part in this series with Julia Edgely, homeopath and holistic practitioner, the lady that healed my TSW and my eczema. My name is Layla, and this channel is dedicated to those of you who are looking for a natural way to heal your topical steroid withdrawal and your eczema. I myself went through TSW and I had eczema since birth, and through the practices of holistic treatment I have overcome both not only my TSW but my lifelong eczema as well. So this is the final video of our 6-part series that I've done this summer with Julia Edgely, and this is actually the second part series of the Q&A, because I did post a few weeks back on the It's and Facebook group what questions you would like to ask Julia yourself, and you guys came back with some brilliant questions. You can check out the first part in last week's video, and this is the final part whereby you guys have asked a lot of questions regarding immune suppressants and if there's any withdrawal process from those drugs thereafter. You guys also asked and addressed the questions about antibiotics and the overuse of antibiotics, and then finally we look at oral steroids, whether or not you should come off cold turkey or not, if there's also any side effects, so you really get the perspective from a medical practitioner, Julia Edgely. But before we get started, you guys, don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up for this video if you find it of value, and let me know down in the comments below if you've had a disappointing visit with a dermatologist and how it's made you feel and what you think you might want to do moving forward. Next question. Some people go to their dermatologist and doctor because they are looking for support, and their skin might be infected, or they've had such a major flare that they've come to a level in their process with their TSW that they just need support, and they're not getting better, and they're often offered to go back on steroids, protopics, or the patient chooses to refuse steroids, then cyclosporin or Dupnex is also offered, immunosuppressants are offered on the table. What are your thoughts on, individuals, because I see it a lot on the It's and Facebook group. I mean, the whole group is all about, overcoming steroids, trying to have a life without steroids. As you said in the previous videos together, you said obviously steroids is mismanaged, and that's how we end up with TSW. But I mean, what can patients do? Because obviously underlining again that they don't have sort of the medical support that they're looking for. I went into TSW, and my first round, I did 8 months of TSW, and I wasn't really improving, and I did go back on steroids. My life I just wasn't improving,
quality of life,
and I didn't have the quality of life. And then in the winter, I did it again, and I did it with you, and it was a much easier process. I think A, because it was winter as well. B, because I just don't think my TSW was as severe. In my opinion, this is my opinion, and obviously the reigning factor is that I had you every step of the way.
Remember as well, the first time you went back on them, we'd started to do things. You were already starting to implement lifestyle changes, and I do in certain cases. I am, although I'm a homeopath, I'm not against medication, and in certain cases you have to do a transition.
Right.
It is not recommended to just stop them completely.
Okay.
Specifically for oral steroids.
Like prednisone?
Yeah.
Right.
If you cannot...
Don't go cold turkey.
No, absolutely not. Again, it depends on the dosage you were taking, the length of time you were taking them, how frequent, because usually you get a dermatologist, hopefully they'll give you like for a few weeks or a few months and then they stop, but then you have to do it again 6 months later. And if you're doing that over a few years, you cannot come off of oral steroids just like that.
Right.
It's extremely dangerous.
For your physical health or
physical
just,
health.
Physical health.
Could, without sounding dramatic, it is extremely dangerous. So that is one thing. If you want to do that, you have to find a practitioner and you start to do the transition.
Okay.
Now, in terms of what I would recommend is you get somebody, because I love working with dermatologists. Okay. The dermatologists I find have actually been quite nice. I'm not saying that they're doing anything for me, but they tolerate me. Okay. And they're like, because we have to remember, dermatologists are not trained. They're not nutritionists. No. They're not herbalists. No. They're not homeopaths. No. Their tools are steroids. Yes. Antibiotics.
Yes.
And immunosuppressants.
Yes.
And they have three.
They have 3.
That's all they can do.
Yeah, 3 weapons and that's it.
Literally all they can do. Yeah. Or they can have a multiple of creams that are just, this will be the next one, this will be the next miracle cream. Yeah. They don't have any of this. So if you're talking to them and they're looking at you and they're like, I can't do anything else for you, they're feeling at a loss. I know sometimes the communication can't be open with them, but you need somebody, a practitioner, who can work with your team, especially if you're specifically chronic, because they're worried that you are going to get infected, because if you have a skin issue that gets infected, you get cellulitis, you can end up in intensive care, especially if it's all over the body. So they're worried about that. They're seeing a threat to your life type situations.
Right, the worst possible case scenario.
Exactly.
Being hospitalised.
Yeah. And they just want, so if they, as long as they know that you're not going to get an infection, they think, okay, I've done my job, which is fair enough.
And how bad is cellulitis? How bad is it infected?
Oh, it can be really bad, because if you're not responding to the antibiotics, you're not responding IV.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's quite serious. Okay. So they want to avoid that, and so when they see you weeping, they see open wounds, they see blood, they're like, okay, we have to do antibiotics. But unfortunately, for a holistic practitioner, antibiotics is just the same as steroids. You are not going to be able to treat the root cause if you're constantly doing antibiotics.
Okay.
A certain course every so often, it's absolutely fine. But if you're using that as your protocol for the treatment, you're constantly going to be in the same cycle.
So if you're going on antibiotics every time you're getting infected,
you're like back to square one constantly. Because remember, everything comes from the gut.
Yeah. So what's happening to the gut?
It's killing off your gut. Gut bacteria. Your gut bacteria profile. Basically, we're all born with our own profile. So all the gut flora is directly or indirectly involved in all of these functions. Right. So you're constantly killing them off. Okay. You'll constantly be inflamed. Your hormones will be out. You won't be able to eliminate the food properly. You'll be reabsorbing toxins. Beta-glucuronidase is my favourite word. So this is just to name a few.
So just essentially, in layman's terms, every time you take antibiotics, you're wiping away all that work you've done in your gut, and you're starting again from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. My opinion, professional opinion, you can't expect great results from changing your diet and lifestyle if you're constantly taking an antibiotic. Right. This is why I've done a whole course of something separate of trying to avoid unnecessary antibiotics, because just like doing the transition off the steroid, there might be a few transitions where you have to factor in an antibiotic here and then, but that's where we're doing the support with the supplements, with the diet through you to get to as many people as we can who mightn't have the resources and might have the ability to go and see anybody, that they will have these techniques, they will know what diet they'll need to do, they will know what supplements they need to take, they'll be able to manage the zingers, they'll be able to manage the itch.
We're doing it for you guys.
To manage this so you can go through the transition. And if you could find a dermatologist who is open, tolerant is the best that we can hope for. Tolerant of you, and you have a practitioner who will work together. That's what you want.
That's what you want.
Specifically, if you are doing things like oral steroids, what you're looking for in terms of positive treatment reaction is your flare-ups are a lot less intense, and they're a lot less frequent. And so you're going in the right direction. And in terms of what you were talking about as well, the other medication is immunosuppressants. If you can avoid them, that can be great. So you implement this. That doesn't probably help anybody who is on them at the moment. But what I would say is you need to have a practitioner who is very experienced with skin issues, with TSW, and have your dermatologist on board. Because we need blood tests all the time. So that's the thing, is when certain cases you need blood tests all the time. So we need, if a holistic practitioner mightn't be able to have the ability in certain countries around the world to be able to order blood tests.
Right.
I'm a clinician with a lab up in the UK and the US, so I can. So my thing is, it's going to take time. How you can communicate with your dermatologist is you can say, I'm doing it the holistic route. You're not asking their permission. I'm doing it the holistic route. I just need your support. They can turn around and say, that's rubbish. I'm not going to support you, or they'll say, okay, I'm here for you. And that's what you want. You just want them there for you.
That's it.
Because like I said, they're worried. They're seeing you. Especially if you've just come off oral steroids, and I've seen this so many times over the years, and I'm like, I need you to go back on them. And sometimes patients don't really want to, but they can see the difference in the end. Like I'm so I'm so glad actually I implemented this. Had to go back on the steroids for a little while, and then I came off it, and then I could start to see the difference after.
That's it. Because you kind of just need to stabilise everything. And then also try and organise your gut flora. Do you know what I mean?
And have the energy, because if you're if you're having a TSW crisis, and I'm telling you I need you to cook this, I need to do this, I need to do shopping. It's just I can't do it.
I can't do it.
You can't manage that, and then I can go the lifestyle route.
That's it. No, I understand that. I mean, I do remember dermatologist's office. I actually went to the main hospital here, and I saw the head of dermatology, and
I remember
I've never had a good experience with a dermatologist. I've never had I understand what you're saying, get somebody on board and that sort of thing, but you know, it's energy just to get there. The waiting process before you even have the rendezvous, before you even have the appointment, can be like 6 months. You might be waiting 9 months, maybe.
And they'll turn around and they'll say, oh no, that's not useless. You asked your dermatologist in terms of diet and everything, like, well, you trained in this. Have you looked at the research? And they're good. They're like, no, actually, I haven't. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be working with somebody who has, and I just need your support on that side. But I remember you were worried to come and tell me that you had to go back on them. I remember that. And I was like, don't worry about it.
It's okay.
It's a process.
Yeah, it's okay. And you know, in the end, you know, it actually worked out better because then when I withdrew the second time round, it was just I was just mentally more
different,
more awake and more with it. I didn't feel so burdened. I didn't feel as debilitated. Although actually my skin was quite chronic, but internally, sort of, I felt like I could overcome this challenge. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I look back, I sort of think, oh, it's because it was winter and it wasn't summer.
And you know, it could have been actually.
It could have been that helped me. I think
you were into your allergy. Because remember, you were triggered from your allergies,
That's
so you're completely inflamed. Your body was like spewing out histamine.
Yes.
It was. So maybe that's a good point. Actually, choose the right time of year. To come off
to do it and be wholeheartedly committed, you know.
That's a
so
good
for
point.
me, that, you know, doing it in the winter for me felt better. And then I was preparing myself for that spring as well. Like I was getting ready for, you know, the allergy, you know, season and the hit. But I mean, I do remember being in my dermatologist's office, and it was kind of just like, if you don't want steroids, then have Protopic. That was another issue. And I tried that Protopic and it just burnt, and that didn't feel right. And then she said, you know, come back and see me in 6 weeks, which I did. And then she said, well, you need to go on cyclosporin, you need to go on an immune suppressant, because a lot of warriors on the groups as well talk about Duponex being like a bit of a wonder drug, but in this country you have to do, and I think in most European countries, you have to go onto cyclosporin first.
And it has to be in
order. And if cyclosporin doesn't work, then you go on Duponex. I think in the US you can just go directly onto Duponex, but we need to check that. But I just thought at the time, is this the road that I want to go down? Do I want to go down a road of more drugs, constant path I've been on all my life? You know, I've been seeing dermatologists all my life, you know, literally. And it'd always been, you know, steroids or something, you know. And I thought, well, this is it. This is the crossroad, as it were. And I've never tried a holistic approach, and I didn't really understand a word
had no idea.
But you know, I just did what I was told, and I just believed in you. You know, I just believed in you. I thought, this is my last shot at holistic treatment. Before, I think, you know, when I was younger, when I was a child with my mum, I had tried like Chinese remedies and that disgusting Chinese tea or something like that, and a bit of a basic diet. And you know, I didn't really like the tea, so obviously I didn't really do it.
But it's commitment.
And it's real commitment. And you know, as a child, you cannot be commitment. And this is another thing actually I wanted to raise is caregivers to warriors, to TSW sufferers, because especially those with small children and toddlers and babies and that sort of thing, you know, they've got to manage their child's condition.
And so it's actually not recommended to go cold turkey in that case. Because you need to, it's just, I always use this word, it's inappropriate. It's going to stress you out even more, and I know how much stress is going to impact your skin. You cannot be stressed. So let's do it in a way that is a lot far less stressful.
So you'll have a much better result if you're not in a stressed situation.
A lot better.
Because I think the stress is it's
and there's not one thing you can take, because a lot of people say, okay, tell me the supplement. Tell me the homeopathy. Okay, tell me what can I take for stress? I can't take anything for stress. There's things I can give you that will reduce the effects of stress in your body. But stress is just about seeing why you're stressed, lifestyle changes, putting up boundaries against certain situations to certain people, getting better sleep, binaural beats. It's time with stress, and it's being able to see what is stressing you. Like I said, practitioners will usually see it straight away, but it's not for us to tell you what you need to do with your life.
So it really is a holistic journey, you know, that you're going down.
You've got to learn a lot about yourself.
You learn a lot about yourself. I learned a lot about myself. I'm always seeking balance. Like the balance of my lifestyle is a reflection of my health.
That's a really good way of putting
it. For me, you know, if I'm off balance and I'm like a crazy running around person, my health will be off balance. I will be poorly. If I'm not balanced, then my health will slip. And that's when I talk about management. I'm not really talking about, you know, exactly what I take for my skin. It's
finding what your management is.
Finding what my management is, and for me, like having that balance. You know, because I think stress management is a huge, you know, issue within itself, and obviously we've all got these symptoms and we're always battling with, you know, our skin and how to cope with it and what to do with it and what the best course is. And we think we're going through this steroid withdrawal without any medical, you know, support or emotional
you need support through this.
And you have to have it. Like, I think it's so important. You've got to seek out somebody that can give you at least that emotional support.
Yeah. And to say that you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing, or okay, that might be work for you, think about it this way. And again, it's not anybody telling you what to do. It's like, well, Layla, what do you think about this? Like, if I was being devil's, I always use that expression. I'm being devil's advocate here, what do you think? It gets you thinking.
Yeah, that's it.
I like to trick, I get a lot of patients and they do try and do, okay, I know it's stress, so I need to change my life, I need to do that. And like, get your nervous system calm down first. Do more the physical aspect. It's almost like preparing the vessel for the water to come. Doing that type of thing. You have to make sure that your body can cope with the stress. And a lot of people who would go through, if there's a trauma in the past, and they need to go straight into the trauma, we need to go straight into the trauma. I'm like, you can't. Your nervous system is shot. Your nervous system cannot handle if you access that memory of that trauma. So you need to do the physical aspect first. So kind of do it in the reverse order. That's a lot of it what I do with my patients. And so they can see the wood forest of the trees. Otherwise, you just can't see.
Can't get over it.
No, and it makes you panic even more thinking. And especially if one of your traumas, one of your triggers is you feel like a failure. And you're not doing it right. Then you're going to feel like even worse.
Sure.
If you're not doing the meditation, I can't do the meditation, I can't do the yoga, I can't do that. It's going to make you feel constantly like a failure. And that's not. So you do it the other way around.
Do it the other way around. And I just think, like, be proud of your achievements, do you know what I mean, and how far you've come. I like to, I journal a lot now, and I just like to, you know, be like, oh, you know, I did this today, and it could be something so tiny and small, do you know what I mean, like it could just, now I have a very different lifestyle. I get up quite early, I exercise for myself, just 10 minutes, just to get my body moving. It might not even be a huge amount, but I thank myself at the end of the day that I moved my body and I did a little bit of exercise in the morning, because it just a balance to be at peace with your body and with your mind. It's quite important. So this is why it's all very holistic-y.
No, it's brilliant, and the fact that, like, I'm always thinking about you 2 years ago.
Oh no, I was a wreck. I could never sit down. Like, I had friends of mine who said you used to come over and you could never sit down and just be calm. You could never be still. Like, you were always moving. Like, I would just, and I had this almost like a nervous twitch. Do you know what I mean? I had this nervousness about me. Last question. Antihistamines. Some people are just taking them, you know, every night to get to sleep. For insomnia, and I have to say, I also fell into this little trap as well. Just
and I actually recommend it to patients.
And you do. So antihistamines are okay.
Well, initially, because if you know that histamine is a huge level, either through symptoms or you've had your histamine levels in your DAO tested. Initially, you want to have its first 2-3 weeks. You want your body to stop producing more histamine. That's not going to get rid of your symptoms. I think that's where people get a bit confused, like, well, why isn't everything going? It's just you're stopping your body adding more histamine to the exaggerated levels that are already existent. So you do it for 2 to 3 weeks to stop your body producing more, and in those 2 to 3 weeks you're removing the excess that's there. So you won't necessarily get a response in those 2 to 3 weeks. That's why you get a lot of people like, oh, it doesn't work for me, my skin's fine, I'm still itchy. It's like, no, but I know the bigger picture. I know the end goal. That it's actually going to help us in the end. So you can take them initially, and then slowly sort of come off them as your histamine. So if you've been doing it for, like, say, months, it means that your body is you need to figure out why your body is producing so much histamine. So obviously it's a diet change. There is a trigger somewhere in your life. You don't have enough of the enzymes. You don't have enough of the cofactors for the enzymes. There's something why your body is producing. That's the thing called mast cell activation disorder. Mast cell, So that is, in terms of supplements, it's a whole different type of supplements. But you need to figure out why your body's producing so much histamine. Histamine for you to be having to take these all the time. Exactly.
I keep on saying the last question. Staph. I had somebody who has been asking about staph infection. And how to control that inflammation. Is there anything we can take homeopathically for staph that could help treat the staph?
Yes, so staph infection, there are loads of remedies. I imagine if someone has a staph infection, they've already tried the antibiotics. So again, if you have a staph infection, try the antibiotics. You want to make sure that the pH of your skin is really good. So again, looking at the water, the apple cider vinegar, everyone thinks that's going to sting. It's not. So if you're preventing it from coming back, it's the pH. If you have it currently and the antibiotic isn't working, you now know your dermatologist is panicking. Basically what you can do is topically you can apply colloidal silver.
I've always liked colloidal silver.
That's great. Anyway, Colloidal silver is silver suspended in water, and it basically suffocates fungus, bacteria and viruses.
Okay.
So you can spray that on. Some will get creams. I wouldn't use a cream if you have a staph infection. You don't want anything to lock it in, but you can spray it off to kill it off. So it's like a topical. It's like the old school antibiotic.
Yeah, right.
It's not the same function.
Okay.
And homeopathically, I would give staph back in what we call potency, which means the homeopathic preparation of staph.
Okay.
I would think of Hepar Sulph. I would think of war is a combination. It's called the war remedies, combination of infection remedies.
Okay.
I would think of Calc Sulph, which is really good.
Yeah.
And I would think of pyrogen. These are really good for acute infections, means you have it there.
Okay.
So they will, put them in the description for you. There are loads more. There's things like calcarb. There would be. I've used lycopodium. I've used lachesis.
I've had a lot of these. I've had calcarb, and I've had the Hepar Sulph.
Yes, they were in the bell nose.
They're in the bell
nose remedies, because there's very different ways you can apply homeopathic remedies.
Right.
You can apply it purely homeopathically, which is basically we just take all your symptoms and we find the remedy that matches those symptoms, or you can use them therapeutically, which I did in the bell nose.
Okay.
But there's quite a few different ones for a skin infection. I'm trying to think of they're the main ones that I would use.
Brilliant. Thank you
My
so
pleasure.
much for your time, and I hope this has answered you guys' questions. And we might do another session, in a few months to come. But until then, we'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want Julia's details for maybe doing an online appointment, then also have a look at the description below. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.